I was going to try to do this video just kind of giving a brief recap of what happened over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia. However, I'm pretty sure it's become big enough news that most people know what it is. And if you don't know, there's plenty of other outlets that'll cover it for you just fine. But here's my take on it. I've been asked this question a few times, and I've had to give it a bunch of thought. And I've been doing a lot of research and trying to figure out what are the actual facts. What do we actually know? And here's the problem I'm seeing right now is, let me just right off the top. It feels to me, and I can't quite pinpoint why, but it feels to me like this has been a very manufactured news story. Not in the way of like fake news, like it's completely made up, because obviously there was a rally that happened. We know that for sure, because you can go back and you can look at the permits that they were granted. The permits were, of course, granted after a lot of trouble from the city and state, from the federal government, trying to keep them from being able to have their rally, these white nationalists. But you can see that the permits were there. You can see video footage that the rallies did happen. Now, let me give you a few reasons why I think it feels very manufactured. It feels very much like the same kind of thing you saw in Ferguson, where you find out that guys like George Soros is funding the Black Lives Matter movement and trying to kind of manufacture this event to make things really worse than they actually are. Now, first of all, there's white nationalist rallies, there's KKK rallies. These things happen. You know, it's not the largest number of people in the world, but these things do happen. Why is it all of a sudden this one in particular has become such a big deal? Why is it that there's been reports of the white nationalist group being herded by police and law enforcement in riot gear directly into another group of BLM members, of another group of Antifa and anti-white supremacist protesters? And then there's also been reports that once they were herded in there, all sorts of hell broke loose, and you turn around and there's no law enforcement to be found, or very little, if that. It's not hard to find that people are really disappointed in the lack of effort by the police force to try to do anything to stop it. Imagine that. Another divide and conquer narrative. This is what it feels like to me. It feels like a divide and conquer narrative where you're taking these two highly volatile, rather small, statistically insignificant groups in the grand scheme of the whole United States, and you are manufacturing this environment, this scenario where you put them at odds with each other, and imagine that. Sparks fly, and they start acting like a bunch of assholes to each other. Who could have saw that coming? I don't know. This everything about this thing just feels, something does not feel right to me. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe this was all completely organic and natural, but I just, based on what I know and what I've seen of past events that have happened, especially in the last couple years here, this feels like another one. What do you think?